In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Google Draw to put a grid over a photograph. It's a couple of steps to actually get the grid to show up where it can print, but here we go. So if you do a search for Google Draw, open up a new one. First thing is to make sure that it's the right ratio to how you want to print it. So I want to print mine on a piece of paper, and the page setup file, page setup, is set to 4:3, which is not the exact ratio I want to do. I would like to do it for a printer piece of paper. So I'm going to do 11 by 8.5. And that gives me a horizontal piece of paper. So that would be like a landscape, a sideways view. Or the one I actually need is the reverse. I need 8.5 tall, so 8.5 by 11. I'm sorry, I need 8.5 wide by 11 tall. So that's your regular portrait piece of paper. And then insert your image, whether you are uploading it from your computer or getting it from your drive or your photos. I have mine off to the side, so I am going to just drag and drop it. And then I want to make sure that the corner is at least 1/4 inch away from the edge. So I'm going to start by clicking on this top ruler and pulling this line down until it says 0.25, and then I will pull the photograph down to match that, and then I'll do the same thing off on the side here. Pull that across until it says 0.25. Make sure that the photo is lined up perfectly in there. And then I'm going to start to put a ruler guide every inch. So starting at 0.25 means the next one goes at 1.25. 2.25, and so on. And the same thing on the way down. 1.25, 2.25, The problem is I realize when I go to print this, the grid doesn't actually show up on the printer piece of paper. So if I go to File, Print, you will notice that there's no grid on the print preview. So the lines are there on your computer, but they are invisible to the printer. So now I need to take this line tool, and if you have the select tool selected, then it will just let you click and move things around. But if you're trying to draw lines, you click on the line tool and then there's nothing selected, which I don't fully understand why that's not highlighted, but it's okay. I'm going to start off of the page. I'm going to click. Try that again. Whoop, and there we go. I drew a line across to make it really obvious and that it shows. I'm going to do it as this yellow-green color. Let me click on the select tool, make sure that it's right there on, what's going on, 1.25. Snap it right to the grid, please. Okay, well I got it at 1.26, so 1/100th will have to be close enough. So now when I click on this line tool, perhaps. Well, I guess I'll just do a new one. I was going to try to copy and paste it, but that seems to work best when you first draw it. So there we go. We can see I have that drawn. I will again make that some other color so it shows up. And then I am going to use the shortcut of Command C, and then I'm going to do a bunch of Command V's and paste them. You can come up here and click each one, but I definitely prefer to use the shortcuts, Command C, and then I'll go Command V a whole bunch of times. I can always delete the extra ones. And now I will start with this bottom one. Try that again. Back to my select tool. Start with this bottom one, and I'm going to drag it all the way to the bottom and make sure that it is overlapping both sides of your piece of paper, because they're really difficult to move once they are overlapping your grid. It's much easier to do it the first time. They kind of snap to the grid, and then the grid kind of takes them over, and I can't seem to grab them again once they're on that grid mark. If they're off of the grid, I can still grab them, but once they're on the grid, they don't want to move. Look at that, I pasted exactly enough. And I do think that there is the one up there as well. I'm just gonna add an extra one just to be sure. If they're overlapping each other, it shouldn't matter. And then I'm going to do the same thing vertically. I'm going to start up here at the top, drag this all the way down longer than the piece of paper, Command C, and a whole bunch of V's, Command V. And that is an extra one, so delete. And now when I go to print it, fingers crossed, this should show. All right, I am going to print it once in black and white. And I am going to print it once in color. And I will go pick those up. Right, my printouts came out well, and I will label them with letters across the top and numbers on the way down, and I will add those onto Google Slides along with this video.